If you can do that, you are wonderfully set up for finishing out quarter three and getting into the holiday season, and you will be driving leads. You're listening to Real Estate Coffee Talk. I'm your host, Sarah Hilton, and this is your weekly live coffee date with the who's who from every corner of the real estate industry. Every week, we're spotlighting stories that inspire and tips that empower. So whether you're new to the game or a seasoned pro, there's something for everyone. Now grab your mug and let's get into it. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Real Estate Coffee Talk. So let me tell you this before we get into the fun stuff. If you are watching this on YouTube or live, you'll notice that I don't have a coffee cup. And here's why. I have recorded this. I am straight in summer mode right now. I've recorded this episode twice. The first time I didn't, nothing recorded, nothing at all. The second time I was like, all right, it's going good. I'm so glad I got it out there. I felt like it was a good show. And I go to upload it and edit it, and there's no audio because my little snazzy microphone was not on. That green light wasn't on. So I cannot possibly have any more coffee today because I'm actually recording this right before dinner time, just when I realized, because I was like, if I wait, I'm never going to do it. So anyway, that is my hot mess story for this week. But I hope when you are hearing this that you are having a better day than I did today. Hope you're enjoying your coffee, your drive, or just sitting here watching me. I appreciate you spending your time with me. Welcome to another solo episode. I'm so happy to have you. I'm excited to talk about what I'm going to be talking about today because it's wild how fast summer has gone. Depending what area of the country you are, I'm in the Southeast. My kids are ramping up to go back to school in about 2 to 3 weeks. So we like before you know it, it's going to be sweater weather and it's going to be fall. We're going to be leading in, finishing up quarter three, getting into quarter four. And the last thing I want is for you to go another month, another quarter without having your Instagram generating leads for you. And of course, you have to do the work, right? Nothing comes free. But I'm going to kind of go through step by step 7 things, 7 foundational things that you kind of need to be doing to turn your Instagram into a lead gen machine, right? It should be pumping out, should constantly be sending you names, emails. You should have like a constant flow of people going in, and then from there it becomes a numbers game, right? How many people are you going to convert? So before I get started, if you are enjoying this show, I would love if you would leave me a review. They mean a lot to me. And I also want to know, and you can send this to me on my Instagram. The handle is at the lead suite. Let me know if you're liking the guest episodes more, if you're liking the solo episodes more, if you like the kind of both of them tied together. I'm curious, I've been tracking my analytics and I have an idea what everyone's loving. But I'm welcome to your feedback. The second thing I want you to know is that a lot of the things that I'm going through here, actually almost everything, with the exception of email marketing, almost everything I talk about, I have some sort of resource or a course for you on, so you can grab those in the show notes. Specifically, I have ChatGPT prompts, over 100 and something ChatGPT prompts. A lot of the ones I'm going to talk about here are in that document, so you can go to the show notes and grab that. Or I have my Instagram kind of like lead gen accelerator or Instagram lead accelerator with AI. You can go into the show notes and grab that as well. That is going to cover, and I'll touch on it as we go through, but that's going to cover pretty much all of what we talk about today with the exception of the one part. So I don't want to spoil it. So as you're going through the show, if you're like, oh man, I need to learn how to do that, go ahead, go to the show notes, grab it, and I'll see you on that side. But anyway, let's get started with 7 things you really have to do to get more leads on Instagram. And here's the way I envision it. Some of these things are going to take a little time. If you can dedicate the next 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks really, to getting this all done before Labor Day in the US, so that let's say the ends of August, if you can do that, you are wonderfully set up for finishing out quarter three and getting into the holiday season, and you will be driving leads in the next 30 to 60 days. Absolutely. Definitely 60 days. But by the time we get around to November, December, January, and coming into the new year, if you stick with this, it's going to be consistent. And then it's just, like I said before, a numbers game. So don't listen to this and think, oh my God, like I guess what I don't want you to do is get overwhelmed. You don't need to do this all this week. I'm gonna guide you like how much time to set apart. What I would do is set aside about 2 hours a week. That's kind of what it's going to take you. If you can time block that, great. If you're like me and you're like, I just need to get everything done in a day, I work better like that, go for it. But I would say it's probably going to take you around 8 to 10 hours for all of it, including your strategy. Okay? So let's get into it. And then I'll kind of go over that as we go through the 7 steps. So where we're going to start is number one, um, identifying your ideal audience, ideal client, ideal customer, target audience. All those can be used interchangeably. What I want you to do is start a Google Doc. So for all of the content that we're going to go through here, you can probably put everything into one Google Doc as you do it. That way it's easy to go back to, edit, replicate, and all that. But to start, you're going to just open a new Google Doc, start thinking of one ideal client you want to work with, right? Typically, this is people you're naturally surrounded by. So if you're of the downsizing age, typically you're surrounded by these people, you have interest in that. But just pick the audience that you want to work with, the part of real estate that gets you fired up that you want to talk about. Of course, we don't want to violate any fair housing laws, right? And I trust you all not to do that. But what we're trying to get at is creating content for a specific audience because it's much more powerful. It's going to allow you to move much faster with your social media strategy, your lead gen. And if you've heard me say it once, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. When you market to everyone, you market to no one. So let's, for this example, say that my ideal audience is people between the ages of 30 and 45 that are like that probably already own a home and are looking to move out to the suburbs, right? Looking to upsize, looking to move out of the city into the suburbs. So now what I want to do is find out everything about these people. So some of the questions you want to ask yourself are, what does their current life look like? Why do they want to move? What's important to them in a home? What's their thought process when it comes to moving? What are their fears, their motivations, their pain points? And what is their dream life? And how can you connect that to them through your content, right? And you can add on questions, but this is a good place to start. So first, what I want you to do is just sit down. If you've worked this audience before and you've dealt with them, you kind of know what they're looking for. So let's use my example. What does their current life look like? Maybe they're a young couple, they bought a house or a condo or a townhouse in the city. So they're living in this low maintenance home that they've enjoyed. They're close to their jobs. They're fairly high income earners, right? Depending on your market, that's different. Um, and maybe they've just decided to have kids or they do have young kids that are still very young, right? So then we get into the why do they want to move? Well, they've just had kids. That's usually kind of why people end up wanting to move in that stage of life. They're looking for more space. Maybe their kid is getting to the age where they're going to be starting kindergarten. Now they need some highly rated schools or to live in a highly rated district. Maybe now they want amenities in a neighborhood that they didn't really want before. Now they want the yard before they didn't want the yard. Right? What's important to them in a home? Things change, right? As your family grows. Okay. So before maybe they want a low maintenance lifestyle. Now they want a bonus room, a couple of extra bedrooms, maybe an office, right? So these are the things. Think of that category of people and think what are the things that they want in the home? Usually people with young kids, they want their bedroom upstairs. Um, what's their thought process when it comes to moving? Well, let's just, the elephant in the room is interest rates, right? I guarantee you people who are moving now, they're thinking, oh, I'm in at a 2.65 interest rate. Man, is it a dumb decision to move? Is that stupid? Should we just make this place work? That's their thought process. All right. So how are you going to address that? What are their fears, their motivations, their pain points? Well, maybe their fears are the interest rate. Maybe their fears are getting too much house. Maybe their fears are adding on to a commute for themselves. All right. All these you can start speaking to. And what is their dream life and how can you connect it to them through your content? So remember, content that speaks to people's emotions, negative and positive, is extremely powerful. So for example, for this group, you can go through and maybe take a video of you walking to like the neighborhood school and say, POV, you live close enough to walk your child to school now, or POV, you made the move to the suburbs and now you can enjoy quiet nights in the backyard, right? Or you can talk about the some of the negatives that they might be thinking of when it comes to living in the city or even moving out to the suburbs and just crafting your content around that. Once you have that, now you have a solid foundation for creating content. You can also go to ChatGPT. Hello, you've watched me enough. You know I'm going to bring my baby ChatGPT into it. You could take once you have an ideal audience, you tell ChatGPT who the audience is, anything you know, and you can have it write you up a report answering these questions. And you can also have it create content ideas or a content calendar based off of the answers to those questions, right? So that's in the ChatGPT bundle that you can grab. It's actually in both courses, but up to you. Anyway, number two, optimize your account. This will take you half an hour max, but I just want you to go and do a little housekeeping on your Instagram profile, right? Check out your bio. Is it still pretty relevant? Is it powerful? Is it grabbing attention? Does it list your city where you work? Does it have your contact information? Does it have some social proof? I was working with an agent recently, and it just said real estate agent in Charlotte. She's a very young, probably 25 years old, and then she told me she sold 100 homes in the last 3 or 4 years. And I was like, "Girl, we need to put that in your bio. That's social proof. 100 families have trusted a 22, 23-year-old agent to help them buy and sell a house." That's we're bragging about that, right? So think of things like that you can talk about, your certifications, anything that kind of sets you apart from people. The other thing you can do is make sure all your links work. If you have like a link in bio, make sure that goes to the right page, and that wherever it sends them, all those links are good. Also, your profile picture, maybe it's time to update. If it's a broker logo, get it out of there. If it's an old photo of yourself, let's have something a little bit more modern. It should kind of be really zoomed in on your face. The other thing I like to do is you can go into Canva, um, upload your headshot, cut yourself out using the background mover, and then that background you can put a bright color or your brand color, and it just kind of helps you stand out, helps your profile image stand out. It's really kind of crisp and clean. So that's optimizing your account. I would also make it keyword optimized, and ChatGPT can help you set that up. Number three, create a lead magnet. So, a lead magnet is simply anything that you are offering to your audience in exchange for their email address, right? We're not trying to get phone numbers in the Instagram world. You're not going to get people's phone numbers unless it's really compelling for them to do so. So, we want to remove as much friction as possible. What I do is I just ask for first name and phone number. For your purposes, you can do first and last name. I'm sorry. I asked for their first name and email address. What you can do for your purposes is ask for full name, and I wouldn't do first name, last name, and email. I would do full name and then email address. The thing I like about this for real estate is it's a tiny bit more intent, but without too much friction. But also, obviously, you can start looking them up in tax records, see if they own anything already once they're in your system. So knowing your target audience when creating this lead magnet is going to be really important because we want to, let's say if my target audience is that 30 to 40-year-old with a growing family, they're really probably not going to care about all the 55 plus homes in this neighborhood or all the senior discounts available in an area, right? So know your target audience, create a lead magnet that is likely to grab their attention and convert them, right? So this is going to take you a few hours. I would say dedicate 4 to 5 hours to this over time. You can run some ideas through ChatGPT based on your audience and ask it for some ideas. Um, but you can also think of places where your ideal audience is. What are the questions they're asking? What are the things they want to know? So, using my example again with the young families, let's say, you can do a neighborhood favorites guide, a kids eat free list around your area. One of my clients, we did a ultimate mom's guide to summer activities in her city. That worked really well. I saw an agent actually in my market last year make a whole booklet of all the Christmas or slash, I should say, holiday activities that were happening in Charlotte for November and December. And I saw no less than 100 people sign up for this booklet, right? So you can do something like that. What I wouldn't do is offer them anything like get a list of homes under 500,000. That's not compelling. They can Zillow it. They're not trying to get that from you. Okay. Be intentional. Of course, you can use a seller's guide, buyer's guide, but the more specific and I guess impactful to your audience, the better. Um, Once you have that, you just have to host it somewhere. So you can do it in your email marketing system on a landing page. You can use something like beacons.ai, Stand Store, any of these places where someone can easily, where you can easily set up a landing page. They can enter in their name, email, and then automatically get that from you. All right. So from there, we're going to move to setting up an email funnel. All a funnel is a nurture sequence, right? So the way you have it set up is that you are going to go in on the back end. You're going to take some time. Again, this is going to take you a couple of hours. You're going to create a funnel, picture it as a funnel from the top to the bottom, right? Very general to getting very specific. And you are going to set up some automatic nurturing emails over a specific amount of time, and that's up to you. I recommend no minimum than 14 days. I like the sweet spot at around 30 days. And it is going to stem from when they download the lead magnet to hopefully leading them to either book an appointment with you or, book a consultation or do some other action with you. All right. What I like to use is the AIDA framework. It's a common marketing acronym. It stands for awareness, interest, decision, and action. So if you think of like an actual funnel, and if you're not watching me on video, if you're listening, think of an actual funnel. You're going from awareness at the top all the way dipping down to that action, right? So some of the emails are going to be letting them know you exist, introducing yourself. Interest is going to be talking about homes in the area that might fit what they need, things going on in this area, new construction, all that is targeted towards this audience. And then you move them through until they're taking whatever action you want them to take. I would also try to blend in any videos I can with this. But again, with ChatGPT, you can set this up. You want to tell ChatGPT how many days of emails you want. You want to tell it to use this AIDA framework and give it some context. Who are you talking to? What's the lead magnet? What do you want to talk about in your emails? And then, obviously your tone, your style, and all that. Once ChatGPT can actually write them for you for the most part, it'll get you about 85% of the way there. Now you go back, you edit them to sound like you. I would make them as concise as possible. And then you put them into whatever email marketing system you're using, if you're using one. If you're not, DM me on Facebook. I'm sorry, on Instagram. I'll give you some ideas for the ones I use. But once you've set that up, now it's working for you. And I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit of a pain. It's very tedious, should I say, to set, kind of them up one by one. But the great thing is once it's done, and it's working for you while you're out doing the work, So how great is that going to feel when you're out showing homes? You have people coming through your Instagram, signing up for this lead magnet, and then now they're going to be nurtured for the next 30 days via email, right? And we're going to talk about how to nurture them elsewhere. Number 5 is setting up a ManyChat automation. So this basically what it is, if you've been on my Instagram account, you've seen me say, hey, comment this word and I'll send X straight to your inbox. That's what a ManyChat automation is. There is a way to do it for free. It's a little bit complicated, but what I would recommend is using the paid version. It's $15 a month, money well spent. So this is what you're going to set up to drive people to your lead magnet 24/7. All you're going to do is go in on the back end. You're going to set up the trigger word. You're going to link, give ManyChat the link of where you want people to go once they give you that trigger word. And then once you create the content, you're telling people to comment that trigger word, and then it's all working for you. So you'll see I have videos that go out and it'll be, a month later in the middle of the night and people are still commenting on my stuff, getting my lead magnet, getting on my email list. So it really does work for you 24/7. And it's over time, it's going to work wonders for your lead gen, getting people on your list. All right. And I covered this step by step in my InstaLeads Accelerator course. You can find that in the show notes. All right. And then number 6 is you're going to post targeted content. Now, if you are really in growth mode, which is where we want to be, especially if you're going to finish this all by August, you're going to start really going nuts or going ham, like my people in New York would say, in September. You want to dedicate at least 30 days. The first 14 days, I want you to post twice a day, right? Content specifically targeted towards that exact audience, right? Of course, you could put your homes that you're listing and things like that, but everything else should be focused on those people and how do you get them off of Instagram into your email list. And then the next 14 days, you can, if you want, whittle down to 1 time a day for those next 14 days. But here's what I want you to do. If during those 28 days, you feel like it's not working fast enough, you feel like people aren't commenting your trigger word, you feel like it's just not working, you're not seeing the growth you think, just relax. All right. I don't want you to kind of bail on this. You want to give minimum 30 days. You will go, whether it works crazy well or not, you're going to learn so much. So create the content based around your target audience and the lead magnet. So they should work hand in hand. So let's say if we have a lead magnet that's talking about neighborhoods with the best amenities in this suburb, or, in 3 suburbs, depending what your market is like. So what we can do with that is we create content that maybe shows someone or shows you walking around a neighborhood pool or a neighborhood playground. And then you can say, touring this playground, or POV, you move to the suburbs and now your kids have their own pool in the summer, right? Comment neighborhood, and I'll give you a list of all the neighborhoods with the best amenities, right? You see how they tie in really well together? So every piece of content should have the goal, again, other than your just listed, just sold stuff. Every piece of content, as much as possible, should have the goal of driving people to download that lead magnet and you get them on the list and give yourself a chance to nurture them. All right. After those 30 days, you're going to go through your insights and you're going to say, hey, what really worked? What got the most comments? Where were people clicking the most? What got me some follows? What had the most reach? Analyze all that. And then you're going to kind of massage your strategy for the next 30 days after that. Right. That is kind of the goal here. And over time, it's going to be like chef's kiss, because you're going to know exactly what people are relating to. You can just kind of repeat the same thing and you're driving people in constantly into your CRM or email list. All right. And then lastly, engagement. So here is, outside of email, here's how you're going to engage. As soon as they DM you or comment for that lead magnet, within 48 hours, I prefer 24, but within 48, I would go ahead and send them a message. And you want to be very chill. You want to be very casual. You want to not have commission breath. And you want to just ask them, hey, what did you think about the neighborhood guide? Or what did you think about, whatever was your lead magnet? Don't be like, did you like it? Yes or no? Because once they give you a yes answer, you have nothing more to stand on, right? So ask them, be very casual about this. You can also do this in that email sequence. So for example, I have a ChatGPT bundle that I was selling a lot last year. And in the follow-up sequence, I had an email that said, hey, first name, what did you think of the bundle? And I got the most responses from that. I think because it was so chill, it sounded like a friend. They almost weren't afraid to answer because it didn't sound like I was going to try to sell them something else, and I wasn't. I literally really want to know what they thought of it because that would help me make it better. So do that. You can also do this in ManyChat with those automations. You can actually set this up so that after it sends them the link to get the lead magnet, you can have the automation immediately follow up within 24 hours and ask that exact question. So if that's easier for you, go ahead and do that. And then you can also create story polls. Now, again, the polls are going to be based on what's going to be interesting to your target audience, right? So, giving my example before of the young families or moving up families, quote unquote, we're not going to ask, hey, like, where's your favorite place for a senior discount? Or what store do you wish had a senior discount? It doesn't apply, right? So, we're going to say, hey, would you rather have a neighborhood pool or would you rather not and have your own pool in your backyard, things like that. And then as soon as they reply in these polls, you DM them again and kind of come up with some conversation, right? It's just a way to kind of really, you got to remember Instagram, the algorithm really rewards engagement and really rewards steps that you take to keep people on that app and do exactly what social media is intended for, to be social. Okay. So this sounds like a lot of work, but it's going to pay off big time. I promise. The other thing to do is ask questions or have people ask you questions about a certain neighborhood, whatever. Those don't they're not as easy for people to engage with as polls. So while you're growing and while you're in this like hyper growth mode, I would focus on polls, but that's something you could bring into your strategy later on. All right, so let me review. We have number one, create your kind of ideal client, customer avatar, optimize your account, create your lead magnet, do it well. You can go to Canva, search workbook or whatever, or ebook, and get a bunch of templates to start. I'll also link some templates in the show notes for you that you can kind of make your own. But, have ChatGPT suggest some ideas. You can even have it suggest the content for you. I mean, there's a lot you can do. Set up your email funnel. Number 4, set up your ManyChat automation, post targeted content to your audience, and then again, engage. Okay. So, like I said, dedicate, if you want to be real about this, if you really want to start driving leads through Instagram pretty much 24/7 without you doing anything else except for creating content is going to work, then I would go ahead and really commit to doing this before August is over, if not sooner. All right. You can do it. Set up some time for each, maybe 10 to 14 hours is what you're going to need max. And then if all these other things, like I said, if you go into my show notes, they can be covered in the courses that I have. I also do a lot of like VIP, well, not a lot. I do VIP sessions. Most people come to me with VIP sessions for setting up their email funnels or setting up their ManyChat automations. So if you're interested in something like that, find me on Instagram at the Lead Suite. Just message me VIP and I'll get you more information on this. But in reality, it can be done yourself. It's going to take a little time, but it's going to pay off in a really big way. And I can't wait to see you do it. So that's all for today. I hope you have the bomb rest of your day. Enjoy your coffee. Go make that money, honey. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Real Estate Coffee Talk. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps. If you'd like to be featured on the show, you can get that information right in the show notes. Be sure to tune in next week for another new episode. And until then, keep your dreams big and your mugs full. See you next week.